Chapter 6 Dancing Magic. Delphie ran over and turned the handle of a door at the side of the hall. It opened into a small room, which seemed to be used for keeping firewood. "In here," she gasped. Just as they were about to go in, Sugar waved her wand at the table. There was a tinkling sound, and she magicked up another Nutcracker doll. "I'll put this on the table in front of the boxes, so they won't realize the real Nutcracker is gone." Delphie and Sugar dived into the room and peeped around the door just in time. Two mice hurried into the hall. One was dressed with boots and a sword like the mice outside had been. The other was wearing a smart waistcoat with gold buttons. He looked very relieved when he saw the faint Nutcracker on the table in front of the boxes. "Lucky for you that the Nutcracker is still here. King Rat's been ever so pleased since he turned him into a toy. He was going to use the quick-drying glue in those boxes to stick all the horrible dancers to the ground, but now he doesn't have to. No one can dance while the Nutcracker's a prisoner here." He glowered at the other mouse. "So, stay where you are and don't let anyone pass." The other mouse nodded, and the sergeant strode out. Sugar looked scared. "If that mouse stays outside the door, we're trapped in here. Maybe there's another way out." Delphie looked around. There were no windows or other doors in the little room. "If only we could bring the Nutcracker back to life. He'd be able to help us fight our way out," Sugar said. "Can't you use your magic to make him come alive again?" Delphie asked hopefully. Sugar shook her head. "King Rat's powers are too strong while we're inside the castle. Only really powerful magic will help him." Suddenly Delphie heard Madame Zaza's words from that afternoon echo in her head. "Real magic of the ballet comes from telling a story and making the audience believe in that story. Never forget that. Always believe in it." Delphie remembered how Madame Zaza had been looking straight at her when she had been speaking. As if she'd been talking directly to her. Never forget the story. Maybe she'd been trying to tell her something. Delphie began to think hard. What happened in the story of the Nutcracker before the toy came to life? Of course, she realized, Clara danced with the toy Nutcracker. An idea grew in her head. Maybe if she danced with this Nutcracker, he would come to life too. Almost before the idea had formed in her mind, Delphie's feet began to tingle, and in her head she heard the opening bars of the dance she had watched the girls doing that afternoon. Delphie moved forward into the opening pose, holding her arms down low with her left foot pointed forward in front of her. She looked down at the Nutcracker in her hands. "I'm Clara," she told herself, and then she began to do the dance that she had been longing to do ever since the class that afternoon. She skipped forward with tiny steps as if she was floating across the floor. Stopping, she raised her hands and drew her right leg up against her left, stretched it out behind her, staying perfectly balanced. She gasped. The Nutcracker's arm had started to raise and his mouth to open. Sugar stared. "Your dancing is bringing him to life. Dance some more, Delphie." Delphie didn't need any more urging. She moved into a pirouette, ran forward a few steps, then nimbly jumped into the air. She lifted the Nutcracker high up and spun around with him, her whole body glowing and tingling with the music as in her mind she became Clara dancing with her beloved doll. There was a bright white flash. Delphie stopped with a gasp. The Nutcracker had come to life. "Hello, Delphie," he said, smiling down at her. Sugar threw her arms around him. "Oh, Nutcracker, Delphie's brought you back by dancing." The Nutcracker nodded. "The strongest magic of all." He hugged her. "And now everyone in Enchantia will be able to dance again." He looked at Delphie. "I can't thank you enough. You must have really believed in the dance to make the magic work," he told her. "Thank you," he said softly. Delphie grinned in delight. Sugar ran out the door. "We need to get out of here, then I can use my magic to take us to the village." "Follow me." The Nutcracker pulled out his sword and opened the door.